Welcome, everyone. I'm so glad you could join us today for this wonderful STEAM Time program. My name is Lisa. I'm with the Tampa-Hillsborough County Public Library, and I'm joined today by my pal Christopher from the Seminole Heights Library, who's going to teach us all about code blocks with FIERO Code. Christopher, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Lisa. Like Lisa said, today we're going to be focusing on code blocks. Code blocks is the first step on your scripting learning path with FIERO Code. So you might be wondering, what is scripting? Why should I learn scripting? And how do I get started with code blocks? Well, we'll cover all of that today. So let's talk about some of the vocabulary that we'll be talking about today. One of those is coding. Coding is what a programmer does to create a software program. Scripting is a type of coding, and scripting is code that is written for a specific piece of software. An example would be a web browser. So when you use a web browser, it's a piece of software that goes out and collects data from servers on the internet, brings it back to you, and lets you view it. One way we can interact with websites is JavaScript. So when you're out there browsing the web and you click on a button and it does something, that's JavaScript in action. So scripting languages are a great starting point for anybody wanting to learn code, because it is a simple structure and format to it. It's really easy to use. Because it does run inside of an application, you can develop software quickly and then see the results right away. So let's go ahead and get started with FIERO Code. I'm going to switch over to a web browser. So if you didn't already watch our first series on how to get started with FIERO Code, you can go to the hcplc.org website. From there, you'll click on the Learning and Research tab. And right now it's our featured resource. So you can click Start Coding and it'll take you to the FIERO Code website. If that's not there, then you can just go over here to see all resources and search by the alphabet and you'll see it under F. So now let's switch back over to FIERO Code and we'll look at how that's all set up. All right, so to get into FIERO Code, you will need to sign up. So kids, definitely ask your parents to help get you signed up so you can get in there and get started. To get started with the scripting path, you'll go to Programs, you'll go over to Scripting, and then you'll see right here is Code Blocks. Code Blocks is one of many levels on the JavaScript learning path in FIERO Code. Inside Code Blocks, there are separate levels to get you started. You have a nice introductory video to kind of get you started with code blocks and to help make it fun. So when you get started, you're going to start out with the first level within code blocks. You'll see that over here is some text instructions on what you're going to be doing. Then you'll also have a window with a video to help make it a little bit more interactive and fun and get you started as well. And each of these windows has a little portion to it that'll help expand it out so that you can focus on it and you can see those windows better. Then down here at the bottom is where you'll see the code blocks layout. On the left-hand side, you have some quick navigation tools to help you find the code blocks you'll need. The code blocks will be listed right here in this column, and you can click and drag them over into the coding window. Now, when you've got the code blocks window up, down here in the lower part, you'll see that you're starting with the stage. The stage is kind of like where everything happens. All your pieces are going to be there. And then each of your pieces are going to be right over here in this section called the sprites window. As you click on each one of the sprites or the background, you'll see that there's the focus changes in your coding window, allowing you to apply code to your pieces or your background. So let's take a moment to pop over and see a demo real quick. So as you can see with this quick demo that I've set up, we've got a couple of functions that are set up so that when events happen, they trigger some sort of change. So over here, when I press the right arrow, we're going to change the x-axis on our baseball by 10. And when I press the left arrow, we're going to change our x-axis by -10. And what does that do? Well, when you press those keys, it's going to start moving that object around your screen. All right, let's bounce back over to our slides. So after you get started in the Code Blocks learning journey, you're going to go through each one of those, what are called workouts, and they'll help you build the skills you need to get started in programming. After you've completed the set of workouts, you can go to the missions section, and inside the missions section, you're going to be able to apply what you've learned to projects that are going to challenge you and help you grow your skills even more. Finally, after you've completed your Code Blocks learning journey, and you've even progressed even to the rest of the JavaScript learning path, you'll find some resources on our website that can help you grow your skills even more. One of those is, for instance, this ebook that you can find on our hcplc.org website that'll help you get started in coding a Minecraft mod step by step. That brings us to the end of the presentation. Thank you for joining us.
So I know Minecraft is super popular, so that's definitely going to be a popular ebook flying off of our shelves. So let's go back for just a minute on your last slide so we can kind of look at the workouts and the missions. So folks at home, if you're following along so far, if you had any questions about what we looked at, definitely type those into the chat box, because we've got time that we can kind of look at what you're specifically asking about and show you examples, that sort of thing. So definitely get those questions typed into the chat and we would love to answer them. So I'm going to ask some questions here because I am of the olds who did not grow up with coding. So I am still getting the hang of these things. So for the FIERO Code on when I'm learning these, so the workouts are kind of like exercises where I learn like one specific skill at a time. And then I guess with missions, I take the different lessons that I might have learned in the various workouts and kind of combine them together to make a full project thing, right?
Right. Lessons are like your steps. They're your building blocks to help you grow and learn. And missions are like your big projects you do that'll help you challenge yourself and to apply what you've learned.
Okay, so kind of like it's code blocks, it's lesson blocks.
Lesson blocks. I like it.
All right, and the other thing where we looked at the difference between coding and scripting. Can you tell us a little bit more about what the difference between those two is?
So coding is like the overarching category for anything a programmer does to build some sort of software, whether it's a web page or you're building some scripting into the web page, or maybe even some bigger project like an app. Coding is all of those things, everything you're doing to build those pieces of software and functionalities that fit and interact with each other. Scripting is just a smaller portion of that. Scripting language as a whole originally started out with JavaScript and working with websites, but since then it's grown into games like Minecraft.
So scripting lets us use the pieces of code maybe that we've worked on, but for like one specific project or software or game.
Yeah.
So we're working with different blocks and building them up again. Is this Lego for the digital age?
It is like Legos for the digital age.
See that I can wrap my head around. That makes sense to me.
You just need the right steps and the right pieces, and you can build anything.
Okay. Well, folks, make sure you get those questions in, because otherwise I'm going to keep asking my questions, and my questions are probably not as interesting as yours. So, so that's the difference between coding and scripting, and that brought us to the difference between the workouts in FIERO Code and doing the bigger challenges. I saw that you showed us how you worked on the baseball game where you're able to use your cursor to move things around on there. What's your favorite project that you've worked on in FIERO Code?
So far, my favorite project I've worked on in FIERO Code is being able to use the camera, and then you can use the camera to point at things on the screen, and FIERO Code will actually register when you touch an object. So I had objects fall down from the top of the screen, and I tried to touch them to earn points. And so that was something that was really neat.
So you could kind of like boop things, even though you
Yeah,
didn't really have a touch screen. You could make the camera kind of pick up what you were doing and
yeah.
and boop the fruits or whatever was falling from the sky.
And it was kind of neat because it overlaid you onto the screen, so you became a part of the game.
Oh, so you can learn how to use augmented reality with
Yeah,
that? Is that kind of how that works? Okay.
kind of like
We,
augmented reality.
yeah, we've done some lessons with augmented reality for previous STEAM times and tech topics. So, well, that might be an interesting thing to work on in the future. Okay. Let's see what our curious observers have in the chat box. Oh, folks are being shy today. Let's look at, could you pull up the FIERO Code page again?
Sure.
And then we'll pull that up again, and then we'll go to our contact page. All right, so in case somebody joined a little bit later, I know with the storm brewing, we had some lost connections here and there. Could you show us again how you made the baseball move on this game?
Yeah, so when you're interacting with objects, you're going to be assigning some sort of event that happens. And so you'll see right here, it says when something happens, and in this case, it's going to be our right arrow key is pressed, we're going to have some sort of change happen. So some action is then going to happen, and we're going to change our x-axis, and x-axis are your horizontal axis that goes from left to right. And we're going to change it by an increase of 10, which will then move the ball to the right. And then very similarly, when we press the left arrow, we're going to change the x-axis by a -10, which will move it in the other direction to the left.
And then if we keep building those up and building those up, we'll have a whole movable game on that screen.
Yeah, we'll just add
Cool.
up arrow keys, down arrow keys, space for jumping.
Can we look at the challenge page and just kind of take a look at some of the different challenges that are, or no, sorry, not the challenge, the missions page? Because we're going to be using our workouts to build very specific skills. And I wanted to take a quick minute to look at the mission. So we remember with the different skills that we build up using FIERO Code, these are some of the things that we can create with those skills that we've built. So this one here is a fun one. This is one that I've played with where we can make our own board games that are playable on the screen. So yeah, lots of different options there. Can we go back to the different options that are there at on the missions page?
Sure.
There we go. So those of you who have already registered for summer reading programs, we track our summer reading through Beanstalk, but if you want to make your very own reading tracker, that is an option on there as well. That's one of the things that you can build with your skills that you're building in the workouts. All right, well, let's pop back to our contact page and we will give the folks the tools that they need to check out more of these programs. All right, so I am going to drop in our chat box here a quick link to our summer reading page. So if you have not yet checked that out, please do so. So summer reading 2023, it's super fun and it is for all ages. So summer reading has programs in branches and virtual programs and prizes for tracking your reading. And that's not just for little kids, not just for teens. It's truly for everyone. We have different age groups that you can win prizes for. They let me pick some of the prizes this year, so no big deal. But if your prizes were awesome, it was totally me. If your prize was not awesome, it was someone whose name we won't mention. We'll call them anonymous. But they're really cool prizes, so we hope you sign up for winning them. hcplc.org/summer has all the information for making that happen. We do have some coding and computer learning programs in branches this summer, so check the schedule for those in-person events. There's some Code Fu programs in there, so check those out. And if you just want to check our programs in general, what's coming up, whether it's summer reading or not, you just go to hcplc.org/events, and that has our calendar with all the things on it, whether you want it in the branch or virtual, summer or otherwise. And we do hope you'll join us for our next STEAM time. We're going to be meeting on June 13th. That's a Tuesday at 6 o'clock. And we're going to make some invisible ink together. So maybe if you have a pen pal for the summer, you're writing your friends and you want to send secret messages, come see me. We'll learn how to make some invisible ink to send those coded messages to our friends. All right. Chris, thank you so much. I had fun. I loved looking at all the different options on the FIERO Code. And keep in mind, FIERO Code is not just, it's made for the kids, but it's not just for the kids. So if you, like me, are a grown-up just trying to figure out what this coding stuff is and how it works, play with it. It's a lot of fun, and it really makes some of these things that you might be hearing about when you're learning about coding make sense on a more basic level. It gives you that hands-on practice with how to manipulate things and how to build these different pieces together to make something amazing and functional. So check that out. I hope you all have fun coding together, and let us know how it turned out. We'd love to hear from you. I will drop a link to our survey here in the chat box as well. So if you don't mind, let us know how we're doing. Let us know what kind of topics you want to see in a future STEAM time. We always want to make these programs be what you want to see, what you want to learn. So let us know, and we will definitely do our best to get that program scheduled for you. So with that away, I hope everyone's staying dry today. It is very thunder rumbly outside here in Tampa. So stay dry, stay safe. If thunder roars, stay indoors, and we will see you next time, folks. Thank you everyone for joining us. Have a good evening.